Are you struggling to turn leads into paying clients? You get people interested, they sign up for your training and your webinars, but then only a handful of people show up. You're probably wondering, how do I convert more of my leads into this flow of paying clients? And I get it, I've been there, but here's the thing, the problem isn't the leads. You've got leads coming in, it's actually your funnel. So today I'm going to share a lead funnel hack that I teach all of my clients inside of the C2C program. And just a disclaimer, it is not new. My past mentors, Alex Hormozi and Russell Brunson, have used the exact same system for years, and it still works today. So if you want more leads to turn into high-ticket clients, then grab a notepad because I'm about to break this down step by step. And we're going to go right in with step one. It's very simple. We are going to create a landing page. Now, this landing page is going to lead to a live webinar or training. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, Costa, that is not the hack. Everyone does this, and you are right. But the real hack and the genius is what we are going to include on your landing page. So inside of your landing page, you are going to need these three things. The first being a powerful hook. This should be something that immediately grabs attention and makes someone think, I need this. So a really great example would be the 3-step blueprint to finally stop emotional eating. And then you could put in brackets, that works even if you've tried everything. When we take a look at a hook, we want to be emotionally compelled, and we want the hook to be something so simple that someone can use the same verbiage inside that hook to say, oh, this person is speaking right to me. Another example would be one of my programs called Client Converting Content. Whenever I'm speaking with coaches, they're like, I want to create content that converts clients. I want content that helps attract the highest level person. So when I named something called Client Converting Content, that's appealing because it is labeled by a want and a need. Now, once we have that hook, we are going to follow that hook with a story. And we're actually going to have several stories, but these stories are chosen to crush objections that your leads have coming in. So before leads even get on your webinar or get into your live training, they already have doubts. They're thinking to themselves, will this work for me? Is this just another program that's not going to help? I don't know if I have the time for this. So we handpick stories, whether it's client examples or personal stories, that tackle these objections head on. So as an example, inside of my program, most of the clients inside of Coach to Coach want to work with a business coach, but they don't want cookie cutter systems in their business anymore because every coach they've worked with in the past tells them to follow exactly what they are doing. So in my landing pages, I use stories talking about how every coaching business is different and that in order for your funnel system to work for you, it has to be in alignment with how you want to run your coaching business. So the objection is addressed by sharing what we do different. And then I tell a story using clients who have had past experiences, either doing cookie cutter funnels or maybe trying a watered down copy and paste version from another coach that didn't work, and then sharing how their funnel works now in going through the process. So the stories are used to address each objection. So take a look and say to yourself, okay, what are the main objections that my clients are having right now? Is it time? Is it investment? Is it maybe they don't have a guaranteed result? Is it fear? And then handpick those stories and we're going to add them inside the landing page. Now there was one more thing that we need in this landing page though, which is the value stock. It's basically a summary of what they are going to learn, either attending the live webinar or attending the seminar. So this is really about clearly explaining how your webinar is going to help overcome their current struggles. So as an example, you could say something like, hey, in this free training, I'll show you exactly why you're stuck, the 3 shifts you need to make, and how to start seeing results fast in whatever your topic is. So when you do this inside of your landing pages, you're actually going to see a really big difference because what it does is it removes fear of working with you. You can paint the picture of how these objections are being overcome. You're also showcasing to them the program that feels like a natural solution. Plus, Plus, it builds excitement for your value draw, which is your webinar or your live training, because it shows them what they're going to learn through the process. So most coaches with their landing pages do not put a lot of thought into the landing page itself. And that's why it doesn't work. It's why your funnel kind of stops there. They just focus on, here are the tools that are inside the program. Here's why you need to put your name, email, and phone number. And it's very, very basic. So we start here. Now let's talk about the webinar itself, because it's really important. Once someone signs up for your webinar or for your live training, this is where the real magic happens inside of this funnel hack. So you're going to need to follow this kind of simple 4-part structure to make your webinar gold. So the first thing is going to be the diagnosis. This is really about asking them why they are here. This is about building instant engagement and self-awareness. So when everyone attends the webinar, we start the webinar and we say, okay, how many of you are here because you're having a hard time finding leads? How many of you are here because no matter how many times you put content out there, you can't get leads coming in? How many of you are here because you have leads coming in, but they're low quality leads? As you ask these questions and you get people to raise their hand and say, yes, that is my problem, that self-diagnosis now builds a level of self-awareness that shows to the audience, that shows to your lead, I am in the right place. And there are a lot of examples for this. You could say, how many of you feel like you've tried everything, but you're still struggling with nutrition? Or you're exercising every day, but you're still not losing the 15 pounds. The more specific we can get with this question to pinpoint their problem, the more they're going to say, this coach is speaking right to me. So when people acknowledge their struggle, they become more open to solutions. This is why we have to diagnose them first before going into anything that we're going to do for the seminar, because maybe they're not in the right place, in which case that gives them the earliest opportunity to exit, so you're not wasting their time and they're not wasting yours. Now we're going to go into number 2. This is about validating the challenge. So now that we've diagnosed them, we have to show them why what they're doing isn't working. This is where you expose the real problem behind their struggles. And clients will always come to a webinar or come to a seminar with what they think is the problem, but there's always a real problem behind the struggle or behind the challenge. So as an example, maybe someone says, I'm having a really hard time exercising because I don't know the moves. But in reality, the real problem comes down to a lack of motivation or fear of getting injured. Or maybe they are doing the right moves, but they don't have the right program put into place. This is where you get to expose the real problem. Now, through this process, it basically helps kind of break their old belief system, because a lot of your clients come in with a belief system of, I have a problem and I need this specific solution, but your program may not be the initial solution that they had thought of in the first place. The entire goal of the seminar, the entire goal of the live training is to go through the whole process and show them from start to finish what the diagnosis is, what the real problem is, how you're going to help them with the solution, which is going to be the value that's next, and then painting that picture of the program itself. In order to do this, we have to break the belief system that they know what is right for them. Think about it like this. You don't just show up to a doctor's office and go, I need my knee replaced. Maybe they don't, but they're like, I believe I do, so I just want a knee replacement. We're not going to say, yep, you need a knee replacement. The doctor's going to say, hey, you may not need a knee replacement. Let's get an ultrasound. Let's do this. We're going to follow a process because what you need is actually X. It's more valuable to the person because they're getting the help that's actually going to work for them. And it's more valuable for you because when their old belief system is broken, then they're going to be open to something new, which is going to be your program at the end of this. So now that we've broken the belief system, this is where we have to go into part 3, which is giving them value. And you know how to teach, you know how to do this. This is basically teaching them the right path through this process. So this is where you get to educate them on what they should be doing. So as an example, instead of doing something like restrictive dieting, you could tell your clients, hey, you need to focus on mindful eating and rebuild your trust with food. It's really about giving actionable tips, something that they can change immediately, that they can see very quick results with. This helps build a level of credibility for you. It helps show them that you know what you're talking about, and it allows them to see enough of a result for them to validate the credibility that they've been seeing online in your socials and, of course, on your feed and with the other content that you've got going on. Now, once you do this, you lead to the final piece inside of your webinar, which is the call to action. This is effectively about showing them how your program is going to solve their issue. Because it is important that you connect the new belief, the new value with your program. This is where you bridge the gap between the problem and your solution. It's something as simple as like, now if you want to fast track this process and finally get rid of a binge eating or get rid of relationship with food for good, my program walks you through this step by step. And then this is where you can transition into how they can join. And here's why this works. Here's why the entire 4-step process for this live webinar makes it so people are ready. To start, it makes them recognize their problem. If you cannot have a person recognize what the problem is, they can never prescribe to a solution. Because if people don't have problems, they're not looking for anything to fix. This is why we always have to showcase the problem first. Then it positions you as the solution. It showcases your program, your coaching, your offer as the thing that's going to get them to the end of the goal. And finally, the most important part, it gets them emotionally bought in. Clients need to be emotionally bought in order for them to be financially bought in. Because the size of the financial investment, it's going to bring up a lot of fear. Maybe they've never invested themselves at a high level like this. Maybe it's more than they thought that the program was going to be. So the higher the emotional buy-in that you can get someone, the greater and the easier it is for them to invest at a higher level. Now let's talk about what happens after the webinar or the live training, because there is an after. Sure, you're going to have people sign up or book consults right then and there after the training. And that's good. That should actually happen. You should have 30 to 40% of your attendees do that in the moment. But the reality is most leads will leave the webinar and they're going to look at more of your content and they might look at some more of your trainings before taking the next step with you. So this is where you're going to have to do one of the most important things that a lot of coaches don't do. You are going to have to follow up. This is the nurture. After your webinar, you're going to need to have a strategic follow-up sequence to turn those warm leads into paying clients. And here's what I recommend for all of our clients inside of C. So number one, we're going to have an email and a DM follow-up within 24 hours right after they do the session. It's really simple. It doesn't have to be a huge complicated thing. Like, hey, whatever your name is, like, loved having you here on the training. Here's a quick seminar, or here's a quick summary of this, and maybe attach another seminar for them to be able to like get some value from. That's something that they can use. It's something additional that they didn't expect. And then you have the call to action again. By the way, you've got 24 hours or however much time to take action on this. You could even ask them a question like, what's your biggest takeaway from the training? Now, second piece, which I shared a little bit, you've got to have some urgency with this. You got to give them a reason to take action now. We don't just say, hey, look, I'm taking 5 clients whenever. We have to say, in 24 hours, in a month, in a week. Now, don't create fake urgency. Nobody likes that. But give them a bonus or give them an incentive that might disappear after a certain time or that might cap after a couple of spots. That way, people understand that it's real. There's an incentive to take action ahead of time, and it gets them fired up to do so without feel like they're being sold to. Now, outside of sending the email and sending the DM, you can also do personalized invites to join your program. You reach out personally to those who show the most interest. Maybe you have someone who asked 5 questions while everyone else asked 1 question. Maybe you had someone who was asking questions about your program. This is where you get to reach out and you just be honest with them. Say, hey, like I saw that you were super engaged in the training. Do you want to chat about how we can apply this to your goals? Do you want to chat about how I can work with you and we can tackle this? So when you do this after your webinar or your training, it keeps the conversation going. All of these things in the follow-up helps overcome last minute hesitations, and this is what is going to lead more conversions. This system, this hack, it's ridiculously powerful. And I know this because I use it myself. I still use it to this day. And before I found this system 6 years ago, I was closing maybe 10% of my leads. It was crazy. It was almost embarrassing. I went, and I remember this very clearly, 26 consults in a row. I bombed them. All of them were an absolute zero because I wasn't doing or adding value like this. I didn't have a value stacked funnel system. I wasn't hacking my funnel this way. And I actually found this process through a chiropractor, which was wild. He was like, how come you're not educating them? How come you're not diagnosing them with a problem? So I was getting an adjustment, and I was like, not only do I need you to adjust my neck, I need you to adjust like what I'm doing. Because clearly I'm not adding value the way that you are adding value. And that's because I wasn't following this process. I was trying to automatically sell in the webinar instead of giving the value, instead of diagnosing. And up front, my landing page was not getting people connected enough to actually show up. So once I optimized my landing page, once I dialed in my webinar, and then once I set up a proper follow-up sequence, my conversion rate freaking skyrocketed. Now, more than 80% of the people who attend my trainings end up in my program, and that's the way that it should be. And by the way, this isn't just for me. My clients use the exact same method and see the same results. So if you're serious about turning more leads into high-ticket clients, then start implementing this system today. It is an absolute non-negotiable. It's the one thing that's going to continue to build a high level of value in your business, because more leads, more high level of trust means more clients signed on, which means your business is going to grow and scale. And if you want to scale your online coaching business, I actually have 5 spots available for you to work with me one-on-one with you in your business. You can drop a comment below in the comment section saying I'm in, or you can hit the link in the description to set up a strategy call with me. Now, if you join by the end of this week, you're going to get access to the next program that I'm running, which is called Client Converting Content. It's a $1,400 program, but it's a part of the process. It's one of the key features with this. So not only are you going to be working with me one-on-one, but you're also going to get access to join that program too, which will help you attract high-ticket clients with your reels and with your posts. And if you did not see what I did there, I showed you an example of that entire thing of creating the scarcity and urgency, because you got to practice what you preach, right? So make sure that you hit subscribe, hit that like button, and follow me on Instagram at Coach Andrew Costa. I'm Coach Costa, and I will see you on the next episode. Catch you later.